I've heard DJs do some crazy stuff like mixing, I don't know, starting with a song, then an animated cartoon theme, and right after dropping a massive hardstyle track, and I'm like, what the hell? Oh, right, commercial stuff, sorry. Hey guys, welcome back to Nolson's channel. Today we're talking about the first episode of the Sue series. How do you really learn to mix, guys? I mean, here you actually learn how to mix, okay? Who am I to say this? And so on. I already told you in episode 0, so go back and watch it there. If you're not convinced, otherwise just close the video. Bye. So, see you in this first episode. We're going to do something as important as it is obvious. Don't just jump onto the console. I'm talking about choosing the track. Choosing the next track after the one that's playing, or at least picking the track to start your DJ set with. In this case, specifically, we'll be making choices focused on learning how to play. In fact, in this case specifically, we'll be using this playlist called Try Groove, which is basically a very groovy techno selection. Let me play you an example. And this will help us as DJs who are learning to beat match tracks properly, since having a clean kick or a whole set of cymbals and hi-hats makes it easier. It definitely helps a lot compared to, for example, having a distorted kick, no cymbals, so a type of techno that's maybe more focused on the bass line and so on. This is really to learn the structure, so the 16, 32, 64 bars rather than the different time signatures of the tracks themselves. 130, 125 BPM, 140, you know, things like that. Using a techno track with a clean kick and lots of cymbals, it literally becomes easier for our ears to perceive these differences between the two tracks for beat matching and so on. So this is the first real skill of a DJ. That is, mixing isn't just about pressing play, okay? Everything starts from the track you choose. And it's not just a matter of taste, but also of structure, clarity, BPM, key, in short, the vibes that the track itself conveys. Obviously, the track that's playing and that the audience is listening to has a certain speed, a certain key. And the track you're about to bring in next needs to match those keys, those vibes, and so on. If you have something super energetic, super powerful, and then you play a track that kind of kills the vibe, basically you end up dulling the DJ set. The crowd either leaves or goes to get a drink or just, I don't know. Then it also depends on how you want to structure your whole DJ set. I mean, in an hour-long DJ set. Having moments where things are a bit softer, a bit calmer, can also help the audience take a short break, basically. Or it can even help prepare the crowd for the next track, which will be 3 times more intense. So it really depends on what you want to do. It's all in your hands, your mind, and your ears. So let's analyze a track. How is a track structured? What is it made of? A track, a song, in this case techno. As I mentioned earlier, in my case we'll be using a kind of techno that's very groovy, with lots of cymbals and various elements, which will really help us learn, literally, to beat match tracks, to identify the first downbeat and to understand the structure of the tracks themselves. In short, there are many features that can be learned more easily by using tracks that are more clearer, let's say, simpler in quotation marks. An alternative to this groovy techno could literally be tech house. Tech house tracks are structured with a very clean intro and outro, very flat, lots of kick. They're made specifically for this, almost as if they're meant to be mixed one after the other. Let's remember that in this series, we're not aiming to become master performers, but to literally learn how to mix. And by the end of this series, you'll have the basics to handle a DJ set. You won't be a pro DJ yet. The pro DJ comes with years of experience, okay? Let's start right away with choosing the track. Basically, to learn how to play, I recommend you consider 4 factors when choosing your track. The first is obviously the BPM. What do we mean by BPM? BPM is BPM. BPM is nothing more than the speed of the track. BPM stands for beats per minute. In this case, 144 on the track on the left, while on the track on the right we have 137. With these faders, we can adjust the parameters. That is literally the speed of the track. One thing I do, especially with this playlist called Try Groove, which I named exactly that, Try Groove. in the sense of music that helps you practice, to learn. In short, it's about doing something very quickly. So first, I go and get my playlist. After getting the playlist, I go to the menu and select sort, which basically means list or arrange. Dada. I choose to sort by key. Note, not by speed, but by key. And we'll get to that in a moment. It's the second factor, but for now, let's talk about speed. After sorting by key, I end up with a whole series of keys arranged in order, ready to be mixed. But on the other hand, we can notice that there's some disparity. Among the various BPMs, the different speeds, this one is 137, the next one is 144. Don't mind that, and if you see two that are the same, it's not because they're duplicates. This one is 140, this one is 147. So what do I do in this case? What I do right away is scroll through the entire playlist, keeping an eye on the BPM. I look through my entire playlist. I see there are tracks at 138, I see there are tracks at 154, I see there are tracks at 135, and I see there are tracks at 149. So among all of them, with these BPMs, I'd say I should settle on an average among all these tracks, maybe right at 144 BPM. So what do I do as a result? I go and pick any of the tracks, for example. In this case, I'll select one, steady, which is at 140 BPM. I load it onto deck number 1. And using my fader, I bring it, even though it's originally at 140, I bring it up to 144. This way, my DJ set already starts at this speed, and maybe by the end of the set, I'll reach a total, that is a final speed of 146, 147, gradually over the hour, hour and a half, or 2 hours that I'm playing, opening the doors for the next DJ after me, who will definitely go with a sound that's a bit more intense, a bit harder. So I gradually increase the speed during my DJ set in very small steps. This is 144, okay? The next one will be 144.2, and every now and then I'll make some adjustments. We'll look at this calmly, okay? Nothing stops you from keeping your DJ set steady. Set stable at 144 BPM for the entire duration of your DJ set. This is my own philosophy, which keeps the audience always on their toes. I don't know if I'm making myself clear. The second factor is the key. What is the key of a track? I'll let you hear it. In the meantime, I'll turn off this function called master tempo, and after we've understood what the key is, I'll also explain what this master tempo does. Let's press play and listen to what comes out of the master. Okay, you're hearing this track at this speed and in this key. Now let's try lowering the speed. All right, now let's try raising it to the maximum. Okay, is everything clear? Now I'll help you understand what the key is by reactivating the master tempo function. This little button, guys, allows us to change the speed of our track, so the BPM, while keeping the key the same. Now I'll let you hear the difference compared to before. Let's slow down the track. Let's quickly speed up the current track. Did you understand what the key is? Let me give you an example. I'll show you practically before and after turning on the master tempo, so you'll understand it directly. Let's listen to the track as it is. At its standard speed of 140 BPM, and let's slow it down. It slows down to 117.6 BPM. Okay, now let's go back to 0. Let's turn off the master tempo, and you'll hear that in addition to slowing down, the key of the track itself will also drop. You get it, guys? It's like it's literally stopping a vinyl record that's spinning slowly with your hand. It will eventually shut off, or if you speed it up, it will become even higher pitched. Is everything clear? This is the key. Okay, I'll tell you right away that the key, it's one of the fundamental things when choosing a matching track for the next one, and so on and so forth. This really helps us make mixes that don't mess up the frequencies between the two tracks too much, basically. There's a kind of system, it's called the Camelot wheel. This thing here, based on the keys your track has, helps you pick and decide which track to play next, like I showed you earlier. But I already do this by arranging the tracks in order by key, as we saw before. And in fact, as we can see, 11B, 11B, 4B, 4B, 1A, 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 1A. These here are all keys. They're the keys of the tracks. They're already, so to speak, in an order that's compatible with each other. Of course, if we put an 11P and then right after we throw in, I don't know, another track that could be this 6A, they don't match perfectly well. And you can really hear this discrepancy in sound between the incoming track and the outgoing track. So the key is also something to keep in mind. Third factor in choosing the right track. The structure needs to be simple and clear. This is always with the focus of this video series, which is about learning how to play. So let's not get into the sound, strange details, lounge strange with bass that lasts things. Kick-hat, tucci. Hypothetically, you could even use loops, literally specially made drum loops, generated specifically so you can learn to mix at different speeds. This way you can mess around and learn to raise the volume at the right moment, to cut the bass at the right moment, and so on and so forth. The fourth factor, which is somewhat related to the third, is having distinct sounds. Less clutter. The less clutter we have inside our track, the more. It will be easier for us to understand which track is faster and which one is slower. Even if, for example, the key, the tonality, when you listen with headphones, with good headphones, obviously, even if you're not an expert, after a while of getting into techno, you start to understand, okay, it doesn't match perfectly, maybe it's better to change the track. I hope I'm making myself clear. In short, it's not enough for you to just like the track. It literally has to be mixable, compatible with the track that's already playing. That said, I'd say we can move on to the next point, which is, where do I find these tracks? Well, if you're practicing at home, just chilling and minding your own business, bro, just download them from YouTube. And that's fine, okay, but don't you dare go play in a club with tracks downloaded from YouTube. Leaving aside the issue of quality, there's a video on my channel. I'll leave the link down below in the description that explains how to download high-quality music for free and, unfortunately, illegally. But just as a matter of principle, if you support an artist, what's it cost you to spend $130 to buy one of their tracks? You know what I mean? Not to mention the quality you bring into the club. It's just not done. Don't show up at a club with tracks downloaded from YouTube because you'll make a fool of yourself. And trust me, club owners and people who've been in this business for years can recognize it by ear. I myself can tell the difference between a track downloaded from YouTube, one from SoundCloud, Bitport, a paid one, or a free download from any up-and-coming artist who puts their tracks out for free. They do it specifically to get more visibility. As for the genre, the musical style, that's up to you. Let me remind you that this series is in no way intended for commercial music, so if you're a commercial DJ, try to find another DJ who can teach you how to play that style, but please leave my channel. Please just go away. Once you've picked out your tracks, I would literally recommend selecting about 10 songs. Oh, one small note, by the way, keep this in mind. Being a DJ is 50% about the live mixing you do during your set, and 50% is the secret of the tracks you bring for that particular night, for that specific DJ set, for that specific console, for that specific place, and for that specific day. Anyway, after you've downloaded your tracks from the web, you'll need to analyze them somehow in order to get the BPM, the key, and so on. And this is done with software. Here we use consoles. Pioneer, we will always use Pioneer equipment because it is the global standard. The proprietary Pioneer software that performs this analysis and so on is called Rekordbox. So download Rekordbox and analyze the tracks you've downloaded from somewhere using Rekordbox. Then export them to your USB stick or simply connect your controller to Rekordbox. And from there, you'll be able to see the key and tonality and all the other parameters of the track. At this point, I'd say that for this first episode regarding the choice of the track, we've said enough. Probably not everything, because there will be, in my opinion, you need at least a whole series for each of these episodes to really explain in full, in detail, to the maximum and in the smallest particulars, every damn thing behind the world of DJing. But in the end, you have to gain experience with your own hands, so I give you some input, I give you the very, very basics. Then it's up to you to find your own path. I don't know if I'm making myself clear. That said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see each other in the next episode in step number 2, which is the choice of the first beat, the cue point. Let's really start getting hands-on with our console. See you next time.